So week 6 had a clean sweep for the NFC South, going 4-0 throughout the division. All teams got a big-time W, and all of them were pretty good games because they ended up in one-possession games. And there were a lot of good ones. So let's go ahead and get into it. In this video, I'm going to break down how that Bucs and Browns game went, the Saints and the Ravens wild finish, and of course, the Atlanta Falcons and the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. And we're starting right now. What up, dude? What's up, everybody? It's me, Aaron Duncan, here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk. Here with another video. This is the channel where I might not tell you what you want to hear. I'm definitely going to tell you what you need to hear. You guys already know, here at the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, I give recap and analysis of the best division in the NFL, the NFC South, and also NFL news in particular. So you know if you guys want to see more videos about the Bucs, the Panthers, the Saints, or the Falcons, man, you got to go ahead and subscribe button below, man. I don't even know where you're playing around. Make sure you hit that bell icon. Make sure you see the bell icon shaking. That way you get notification every time your boy drops a video. And you got to give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the like. So let's go ahead and start off in Florida with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The crazy game they took on Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. You guys know, if you've been paying attention to the channel, I have a little soft spot for the Browns. I did the Hard Knocks recap and reaction videos. I'll go ahead and link it up in the description if you want to check those out. But I've been following these guys pretty close this year and I had a little soft spot. So it was pretty interesting to see these guys take on the Bucs. But this game was wild, man. The defense for the Bucs, which hasn't been seen in years, had an extra bounce in their step. Maybe the firing of Mike Smith gave them hope. Maybe the Duffinator got these boys on some other stuff, and they were just bouncing around. The front seven was crazy. 4 or 5 sacks? JPP went off. They beat up Baker Mayfield pretty much the whole time. Hell, they had the Browns to 3-14 on third down, and even though the offense turned the ball over 4 times, the defense played so well that it really didn't even matter. They were able to make up for a lot of those mistakes, especially that interception that was thrown in overtime that pretty much almost threw the game away. However, the defense balled out, man. You got to give credit. We haven't seen this much competitiveness on defense in a while. So I don't know if Duffner did something or whatever. He seemed to be a little bit more aggressive in his blitzes. So maybe that was the key. I don't know. But the secondary definitely played a solid game also. I've been giving Carlton Davis a lot of flack because of some of the mental mistakes he was making, especially in particular the Bears game. But he came up, he made some plays, man. We knew they were going to take some lumps as rookies, but Carlton Davis ended up making some plays, man, especially in overtime. He had a big-time pass breakup. The Browns receivers aren't slouches. The Buccaneers did a good job taking advantage. Offensively, it was even a stranger game. I mean, like I said, the offense had 4 turnovers. Jameis didn't throw a touchdown pass, but they had 3 rushing touchdowns. They got the first rushing touchdown from the running back all year. Your rookie Rojo got into the game. He actually showed some flashes of what we've been waiting on. He actually caught the ball out of the backfield on a wheel route, and he looked pretty good after he caught it. Man, you can see the explosiveness. I know they really haven't given him a chance to get the ball in space and on the outside, but you can see that flash once he caught that wheel route on the sideline. He kind of turned the Jets on, and maybe if he can get his hands shored up, they'll be able to do a lot more creative stuff with that. I want to comment on the running game, but it seems that for what it sounds like, they're pretty much okay with not being as balanced that way because they're okay with putting the ball in Jameis' hands. I mean, and Jameis played pretty good this game. He even led the team in rushing with 55 rushing yards, and Jameis looked pretty nimble, man. Not even just on his runs, but he looked nimble, moving around the pocket, dodging the rush, and making throws. And like I said, he took what the defense gave him. Overall, man, Jameis pretty much played a pretty clean game up until the end, of course, with those late turnovers, which almost cost the game. However, you gotta be happy with what Jameis was doing. The completion, getting the completions, spreading the ball around, of course, scrambling around, making plays, taking what the defense is giving you. That's what you want to see from him, not forcing stuff and making mistakes. Of course, Chandler Cantanzarro blew the game winner in regulation because he wanted to see more football, bonus football. He wanted to see 8 more minutes of football and waited till with 2 minutes left to make a kick that was 19 yards longer than the original one he missed in regulation, which is kind of odd to me, but nothing's ever normal with the Buccaneers, and that was only the way I feel like a game like that could go. So let's talk about the Saints versus Ravens game. We knew this game was going to be a physical game going into it. This was the #1 defense. They were top at points allowed, yards allowed, points allowed, and a bunch of other defensive categories. And we knew it was going to be a knockdown game. I mean, the Saints were going on the road. They had the #1 offense, but typically in these matchups, defense typically usually gets the nod in these situations, and they pretty much had their way with the Saints offense. The Saints definitely had to earn most of what they got. A lot of attempts on fourth down, thanks to Taysom Hill in the run game. On the running game, they stuck with it. They were committed to it. Shout out to Sean Payton for doing that. It wasn't as effective as normal. It had its spurts and its spots, but the yards per carry average wasn't great. But like I said, Taysom Hill coming in and making that difference, bringing that dynamic of the option in the run game, and like I said, the fake punt too is just another dimension that defense have to prepare for. I'm not sure why most people haven't caught on and are able to stop this. Basically a Wildcat. I mean, the Wildcat went out of style years ago, and they're getting away with it. I mean, Taysom Hill's been the Swiss Army knife. He's been the plug-in everywhere. He's been making plays, whether it's special teams, at wing back, at tight end, freaking quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Wherever you need this guy to go, he's a third-string quarterback, so you don't have to worry about him getting hurt. So Sean Payton's throwing him into the fire and get used to that athleticism and toughness. This was the second game this year that the Ravens have gotten fortunate by the misfortunes of other teams' kickers. We remember the Browns game where that guy missed 3 or 4 field goals, and that ended up definitely being a difference in the game. But this time, even after a blunder in the secondary by the defense between Marshon Lattimore and Von Bell, I have to probably give the blame to Marshon Lattimore for not jamming the wide receiver long enough to give Von Bell time to get over the top in cover 2. Why they were in cover 2 in the red zone anyway, I don't understand. That's on Dennis Allen because the defense made some plays pretty much most of the day. Joe Flacco, they stopped the run. They kept that tough run defense going. Joe Flacco was able to make some throws. They got some big plays out of John Brown. We saw a lot of typical holding calls on the second corner, whether it's PJ or Ken Crawley, of course. But, of course, the Saints addressed this with the trade for Eli Apple. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, probably in an additional video. However, that last play was on Marshon Lattimore, the bona fide number 1 corner. However, things happened. The notorious announcer jinx is what saved the day. Justin Tucker, who has a 90% field goal percentage, the most accurate kicker in NFL history. He had never missed an extra point in his career. He made like 231 or 238, something like that in his career in a row, extra points. Blew an extra point. Like I said, he had been messing around, getting close to hook and one all day, but it came back to haunt him. And that's pretty much how the game ended. A 1-point game. It doesn't matter how you win. It's just the win that matters. I mean, the Saints, they're very fortunate. Sometimes it means that it's your year when stuff like that goes your way. So you never know. But like I said, with the Peterson rumor swirling around, doesn't seem like it's possible because of the cap room. But getting Eli Apple, we'll see how that goes. Last but not least, the Atlanta Falcons game on Monday Night Football. Eli Manning and the terrible New York Giants come to town was just what the Falcons needed defensively to get stuff in order. Their front cranked it up. It got some pressure on Eli. Tack had a sack. Jack Crawford had a sack. Grady Jarrett came back from injury and had 2 sacks. Where the hell is Vic Beasley? He didn't get a sack. And this was the worst O-line probably in the league. And your best opportunity to get a sack, and Vic Beasley did not get any action. I don't know what's going on. I got to be critical of the cornerbacks, man, because they gave us some big plays to Sterling Shepard and Odell when they've been the guys that have been consistent. I know the safeties have been hurt, the linebackers and D-line have been hurt, but these guys have been the constant, and they continue to get roasted. And it's kind of annoying, man. You give Trufant that big money, and you give Alfred the number 2 backup cornerback money, and these guys they're not doing that. They're not producing. They're not earning that check. So I don't know what's going on there, man, but it is what it is. Offensively, Matt Ryan had another pretty clean, flawless game, over 300 yards, of course, 1 touchdown. I think he hit his last 18 passes, they said, which is ridiculous. Going into the bye week, he looks pretty good. Sometimes when you're this hot, you don't want to go into the bye because you're stopping the momentum. However, the Falcons have a lot of guys hurt, and they need to get those guys rested. Tevin Coleman had a nice cutback run on the toss. He didn't have a ton of yards on the ground, but that was a nice run by him. Julio went off. He did not get in the end zone. I thought he would get in the end zone facing guys like Eli Apple, but he didn't get in the end zone. He did have 100 yards, though. Calvin really played pretty good. Mo Sanu, who everybody pretty much got involved pretty well. Offense ran pretty smooth. But the story is Giorgio Trevecchio, the Spaniard kicker that they signed instead of Matt Bryant, who ended up making 3 field goals. He made the 50-plus yarder to put the game away, pretty much make it a 10-point lead with a few minutes left. Dan Quinn, a lot of people I know and Falcons fans said they were questioning him again for being that aggressive, but this is what Dan Quinn does. This is what lost him the Super Bowl by being this type of aggressive. But Ended up being aggressive, ended up paying off. That 2 possession was the difference in the game because the Giants went down and scored, but there wasn't enough time left. They ran out of time to get another attempt at the end zone or a field goal after that. Of course, there was some questions caused by the Giants up there, but you gotta appreciate what the Falcons did to be the first team to hold Saquon Barkley under 100 all-purpose yards. You got to give their offense credit. I mean, Eli had a lot of passing yards through the air, but they were all over him pretty much. He had to throw a lot of checkdowns. Saquon Barkley almost had double-digit receptions. However, it is what it is. Great win by the Falcons. However, this is a clean sweep in the week. The Falcons are going to their bye week. The Saints have, I don't know who they have this week. I have to check the schedule. They have a tough sled coming up. The Panthers, of course, I talked about that comeback win. If you missed that video, I'll link it up here somewhere. And the Bucs, hey, they got to win. Everybody cleaned up. It's going to be a tight race in this division. The NFC, there's only 4 teams above 500 right now. So everybody's still in it. So with that being said, I'm Aaron Duckett signing off for the Necessary Blunt Sports Talk. I'll see you next time.